In my previous article, I have briefly explained the nature of the EU. Many readers want me to explain what NATO is and whether it is strong enough to attract Finland and Sweden to join. NATO is a collective security system established in 1949 by 12 founding countries including the United States, UK, and France. Its original purpose was to counter the threat of the communist state headed by the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, USSR. According to Article 5 of the NATO agreement, if any member of NATO faces a military attack, all other members should respond immediately, which means that member states can automatically join the war without further parliamentary or council approval. NATO, led by the United States, has formed a powerful military force, posing a huge threat to socialist countries. In response to this threat, the Soviet Union invited 7 other Eastern European socialist countries, Eastern Bloc, including Albania, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, East Germany, Hungary, Poland, and Romania to establish the Warsaw Pact organization headquartered in Poland, commonly known as the Warsaw Pact. At that time, both sides were equal in strength. Warsaw was not dissolved until the reunification of Germany and the disintegration of the Soviet Union in 1991. After the dissolution of Warsaw, NATO became the single largest military alliance in the world. Over the past few decades, the United States has used NATO as a tool to satisfy their ambitions to expand military influence, not for the original defense purpose. For example, during the Yugoslav Civil War in 1999, although the Civil War did not pose any threat to NATO, the US-led NATO carried out airstrikes on Yugoslavia without UN approval. During the airstrike, the U.S. Air Force launched 5 missiles that bombed the Chinese embassy, causing multiple casualties. While it may seem that NATO member states are united, there are some strong opposing voices within. In 2019, French President Emmanuel Macron has described NATO as brain dead and criticized Turkey's attitude in the Syrian incident as not serving NATO's interests. Another German counselor, Alexandra, said that the United States and Turkey are only using NATO to gain benefits. In addition, the former U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to withdraw the United States from NATO if NATO members do not increase military spending and buy more weapons from the United States. In the end, the dispute was settled when NATO committed to buying more weapons from the United States and agreed that the United States would reduce its spending on NATO from 22% to 16%. The Chinese government describes NATO as a Cold War relic used by the United States as a tool to achieve its immoral ambitions. We must admit that American propaganda work is very effective. They succeeded in distorting the image of Russia and China. In the Russo-Ukrainian War, Russia was described as an aggressive demon that would continue to invade other countries and claimed that only NATO could help small countries not be swallowed up. Thus, Finland and Sweden were persuaded to join NATO. Despite Russia's objections and threats that Finland and Sweden need to bear the consequences, I don't think there is any immediate risk of war unless NATO installs lethal weapons such as nuclear missiles in Finland or Sweden. In addition, the US fully understands that he may not have full influence in NATO, so he is working to create an Asian version of NATO, NATO+. The USA is trying to invite Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and South Korea to form a military alliance to surround China. As mentioned above, the United States has also successfully distorted China's image in Western countries, worrying many foreign citizens. Politicians can then use the China-Russia threat theory to strive for greater political interests. However, with the rapid development of the internet world, it is easier than ever for information to spread around the world and the truth to be discovered easily. If China and Russia can put more resources and effort into propaganda work, I believe that America's evil nature cannot be concealed forever. Regrettably, to this day, I still do not see much improvement in the propaganda work on our side, especially the Hong Kong SAR government. I hope the new government will pay more attention to this. This will not only help to enhance the image of Hong Kong, but also let more people know the truth.